Hi everyone, and thank you for joining our webinar today. This is episode 2 of our webinar series, and today we're going to look at making smart HR decisions with our host Fraser Graham. Please ask any questions throughout using the Q&A panel, and join us at the end for our live Q&A session with Fraser and Phil Sargent. With that, I'll pass you over to Fraser.
Hello everyone, and thank you very much for joining. This is a bit of a scary slide with a big version of my face, so I'm going to move away from that very quickly. Thanks, Sandra, for the intro. And yeah, essentially today what we're going to look at is ways that PeopleHR can help you to take more informed, data-driven decisions about your workforce, improve your HR initiatives and practices, and ultimately ensure compliance with local laws and regulations. A quick agenda, which can have a very brief look at the tools in terms of the features that we have available within PeopleHR. And then what I want to do is run through a series of scenarios, some real world business examples of ways that you can use our solutions to pull the data and manipulate it in the ways that you want, in order to get the best outcome ultimately for your organization. And then finally, as Sandra alluded to, we will do a live Q&A at the end. So we'll keep an eye on the time and hopefully leave a good 5 to 10 minutes at the end to run through some questions, which will be hosted by Phil and myself. So first of all, tools. Within PeopleHR, we have got a query builder, which is the way that our customers, admins and managers are able to easily build and define queries. This is really flexible, a really flexible tool, and covers a multitude of data points that we'll get into in a second. You're able to then add filters, and then most importantly, save and amend for future reference, for export. And again, as we run through specific scenarios, we will look at how you can use our query builder to build automated workflows, saving you time and reducing effort. Next, we've got some infographic reporting available. So these are pre-built infographic reports, which covers a variety of HR metrics. And we also have the ability for you to create your own infographics. These are easily shared. A great scenario or a great forum for these is in meetings. You can pull reports and show the PDF exports really easily. So, without further ado, let's delve into some real world examples here. So the first piece that I wanted to look at is how you can identify trends and patterns. And the specific example that I wanted to look at here is turnover rate. And with each of these examples, I've kind of given a route to calculating and a bit of a formula. I'm not going to read through all of that, but it's there for you if you'd like. The metric indicates the percentage of employees who leave an organization within a specific period of time. And by tracking turnover rates, you can identify trends and patterns in employee departures, determine potential issues that need to be addressed, such as low morale, inadequate compensation, perhaps poor management practices. And by tracking turnover rate over time, this allows you to find patterns that arise within that. So this example is looking at our infographic report. So this is a pre-built turnover report that we have available within our reporting function. You can see here within staff turnover, I'm then going to select a year. Notice there that we have some additional costs and figures within there. I'll show you how they're used in a second. And you can see that it quickly calculates over that year the number of leavers, new joiners that I've had. You can see for the role of a driver here, or my example company is an area where I have a problem, a 14% turnover rate. The costs also, with the input of number of levers, help you to understand the costs of staff turnover, which is a handy reflection tool and a quick route to get some guidance on how much turnover is costing your business. As a rule, a turnover rate of 10% or less will keep a company's workforce stable, and PeopleHR also helps in multiple ways to help you improve your turnover rate. So you can, through tracking your turnover rate, spot trends. For example, you may have a trend where you're seeing particularly high turnover at the beginning of your employee's life cycle. So you could perhaps use interactive ripples, which are employee-focused workflows, automated workflows, to support and improve your onboarding process. You could also complete pulse surveys to track employee NPS, and perhaps look at ways that you could use Access Engage to add additional benefits or improve comms. Final point there is conducting exit interviews, which is super important, and we have a tool called Logbooks, which comes with our solutions to help you manage those. So the next scenario that we are going to look at today is monitoring compliance with health and safety training. So this metric tracks whether an employee is properly classified and ensuring that they are compliant. In terms of training, the example that I've actually brought forwards here is around background checks, but it's got a similar scenario in terms of having a legal theme and also an important piece that you would want to have a percentage compliance tracking on it. In this example, I'm going to pull background checks for a specific department. So you can see here that in the query builder, I'm looking at the themes and then fields that I have available to me around background checks. I'm additionally pulling a user role here and also the manager email, which will be important to enable me to follow up quickly with that individual's line manager. On hitting next, I'm offered some filters, and this is where I'm going to filter by a specific department. So I'm doing some work and within my example scenario, I'm looking specifically at the Department of Trackside. When you're building a query, you are able to save them, as I mentioned when we covered the tools. This is really, really helpful because it allows you to rerun a saved query over and over and over again, saving you time. Obviously, as your business grows, as you build more reports and queries, you may want to add themes to these, which you can do simply as well. Here you can see the output of my query. And you can see here that we've got 3 employees who do not have a background check or are not compliant in this situation. So within this department, I've only got a 40% compliance rate on my background checks, which is something that as a business we want to address. Just want to call out as well within the query builder that we have got a series of pre-loaded queries. And within this example, I'm going to take you a little bit deeper into how we can automate our solutions. I'm just going to pause that video right there. What I've done is gone to the query builder and looked at a pre-built query which shows the background checks that are going to be out of date within the next month. That is built using the fields that we've already selected, and then a filter to find a date that is within the next month. Off the back of that now, we can see we have one query that is one sort of record which is going to be available. One way that you can manage this is by scheduling a reminder. So you can easily schedule a reminder, and as an admin you will get a notification to run this query and check it. Still quite manual. Another way that you can really save time is using automated workflows, and we call these ripples. Here you can see I've set up a ripple off the back of the query that I've just showed you around background checks expiring this month. You can see here that I don't want to email anyone who's not included in that report. In this case, I only had one example, but in this ripple, what I've done is I've set up a very basic email to remind the manager and the employee that their background checks are going to expire. I've created a task which will land in the employees and managers task list, and then finally I've ended the process. This really helps to sort of remove the need for action from purely being a HR piece when there's other teams and other managers involved where they are responsible for completing HR actions, but HR teams are accountable for them. So jumping back to health and safety and using that as an example of compliance, obviously training is very important. The mandatory training is complete. I did some research and found a study that showed that 44% of the UK workers had not received any health and safety training in the past year, which I found quite shocking. And as I've shown already, we can use automatic alerts to cover those off, and also engaging in convenient training, and also regular reviews, which, as I've said, you can save queries, save query builders, build queries, and review them very simply. So the next example that I've pulled is diversity. So diversity within an organization is so important on so many different levels, from increased creativity and innovation to improving decision making and better employee retention and engagement. And I wanted to present a diversity index measure, which I think is a really strong way to track diversity within your organization, and then also use that as a benchmark on how you want to improve it. Again, I won't run through the calculation, but that's there. If you want to pull this back, I'm sure we'll be able to make these slides available after the webinar today. But essentially, it calculates the representation rate within your organisation of individuals with diverse characteristics. Now, within this example, I wanted to show how you can not just use fields within the HR solution, within PeopleHR, to query on, but also you can build your own additional fields. And to do this, I'm going to use logbooks. Logbooks is a form building tool within PeopleHR. And every response to the form is queryable through the query builder. So you can see here to look at the diversity index within my trial org, I've built out a logbook which captures gender, ethnicity, whether the individual identifies as having a disability, and also age. You can see here that data then I can directly query, and this is such a useful tool in terms of creating custom screens and then having the ability to query on it. I've built my query already for ease, and you can see here that now for each employee, I haven't pulled their names through so that I have a level of anonymity, and I then have the diversity characteristics. Within the query builder as well, we've got this little tool where you can build really quick charts, which are really handy if you want to show a very quick example of a state of play within your organization. But in this example, I'm going to export it to a CSV. You can see here that I have identified the diverse characteristics, and the diversity index gives you a score of between 0 and 1, taking into account all of the characteristics and the number of individuals in your organization that represent those. As I said, a really strong benchmarking tool. And what's considered good really varies on many factors, including your location and industry. But internally, it gives you a score that you can then work to improve on. Some ways that I thought that PeopleHR can help you to improve your diversity index once you understand that score. And the first piece to call out is inclusivity, right? Calculating your diversity is only half of the piece here, and the other half of the work is ensuring that diverse individuals within your organization are feel included and are represented as well. So you can use pulse surveys again to understand how your organization inclusiveness is perceived amongst employees. You could look at ways of rating, perhaps on a 0 to 10, a sense of belonging, the ability to voice opinions. And another key piece here is recruiting and hiring metrics. So how diverse are your applicant pools? Are you tracking the success rate of diverse candidates at each stage of your hiring process? Some more examples of how PeopleHR can help in this department. And the last live example that I'm going to have a look through is around making better hiring decisions, and particularly the time to hire. So this measures the amount of time that it will take to fill a job vacancy. By tracking the time to hire, you can identify areas of your hiring process that are longer than they should be to make improvements and speed up the process, ultimately to reduce the cost of unfilled positions. I guess the bottom line with time to hire is don't let anyone else offer a good candidate first. You want to be there, and your shorter time to hire helps you to deliver on that. In here, I just wanted to call out the range of data points that you're able to query on and export. So here I'm looking at employee data. So let's consider the start of the hiring process being the point that the vacancy is created or signed off, which we're going to pull, and the end of it being when the employee is created. You'll have seen a second ago, I've already selected the date that the employee was created. I'm now looking at when the vacancy was created. That gives me a time window then, so that I'm able to calculate time to hire. But now I can also start looking at other metrics, such as the date that the interview took place, and other metrics throughout the hiring process, which segments each phase of it and helps us to manage it. We have a customizable pipeline builder which means that you're able to query on when an individual was added to each of those stages. You can see here I've just selected a few which will help us to get an understanding of how an individual is tracking through the pipeline and what your time to hire is. On average, and again, this varies massively, 30 to 40 days is considered good, but depending on the role and your location, this will vary massively. As I said, like a shorter time to hire generally means that your company is able to fill job vacancies quickly. Having a candidate bank is a really great way of shortening the time to hire, which is again something that we're able to do within PeopleHR. Also using technology to automate tasks such as conducting background checks and video interviews. Improving your candidate sourcing using a variety of job boards, also employee referrals, and then finally, as I said, with a custom pipeline, you're able to move individuals through them through that quickly. So how do we get your HR data out of PeopleHR if you would like to? So there's two pieces to this. So PeopleHR has got an open API. So with query, we've got numerous endpoints that you are able to use with a API key that you can generate yourselves within PeopleHR. Is one way in which you can integrate with third-party systems or other access solutions, which I'm going to get onto in a second. And then the other route here is via a secure file transfer protocol. And essentially, you're able then to define queries using the query builder. So you can hit all the different data points that we've looked at today, and you can create an automatic export of that information to a server of your choice. So if you already have a data lake implemented within your business, you can bring your HR data into that. But the really exciting piece and what I want to call out is what's coming soon. So in the first instance, we've got some standard analytics dashboards, which we will be releasing, and we've got 3 of them built. The first being around resources and planning, giving you some key metrics, the next being on planned leave, and then the third being on your company snapshot. So this looks at some D&I metrics within the org. Now, these are all within Access Analytics, which is a product that sits within your workspace. And we're constantly working at bringing these solutions closer together. So as I said, in the first instance, these will be standard, so they won't be editable. However, we are looking at what we do to bring them closer together. Today, we are able to deliver you a dashboard such as this using secure file exports, so SFTPs. And you would be able to create and design, or we would be able to help you create and design analytics dashboards that suit your business and HR needs. Fantastic. I hope that you found that really helpful, and I'm hoping, Phil, that we've had some questions come through in the chat. Have we got anything in there that you want to start with at all? Hi, by the way.
Hi, Fraser. Great job, and thanks so much. I always find it quite interesting to learn more about our products, and I really didn't know and appreciate that the query tool could be so extensive. Yeah, it's ideal. I know that being able to quickly present data back to management information back to boards and exec teams and other leaders across other functions, is a hot topic for a lot of the customers I speak to. So great insight. Yeah, we do actually have a question that came in. And the question is, can I add a field to the query options to monitor training compliance? Came in during, I think, one of the earlier sections that you had.
Yeah, so yes, absolutely. So there is a pre-built query on there around training compliance and expiry dates on training certifications. We've also then got, as I showed, the logbook where you can upload additional data depending on what your training mix is, and this is the flexibility of the query builder with logbooks, and then with Ripple brought into the combined package that will really sort of unlock the ability to find and implement a solution that really works for you in your business.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Understood. And then we have, how do we ensure data integrity? We find that data exported is typically inaccurate.
So how do we ensure data is secure and is correct? So ultimately, the data within your HR solution is ultimately managed by you, right? And I think that the way that you keep that current and maintain it, I guess keeping it up to date, would be collecting new data from employees as and when things change or over a specific time period. PeopleHR allows you to do that using logbooks as the ability to sort of predefine and collect information from your teams and from your employees. And that can be sent through as tasks within the solution and system, so that you can follow up on them as well as HR professionals. So within the system, we can automate the collection of data, ensuring that it's always kept up to date. And that ensures then that what you export, what you pull into your analytics tools, be that Access Analytics or another solution, is completely up to date. I hope that answers the question.
It does. I think what you're alluding to there is a question I hear a lot from customers that choose PeopleHR and that we get to speak to. You know, data integrity is a funny one, because the biggest issue we see in a lot of small to medium-sized businesses is the fact that they're trying to manage multiple systems in different environments that aren't always connected, right? So there's lots of transferring data between systems, which means that there's no real source of the truth, and that organizations run, right? So I think one of the important things that we should think about sharing more, and maybe even run a session on for people, would be, you know, how does PeopleHR become that true core system of record? You know, it inevitably that is going to be most accurate if it's capturing end-to-end employee data, and it's about how do we then feed payroll, feed any sort of industry-specific tools, feed kind of finance systems with correct employee information, all that kind of good stuff, right? We need to help people, I think, start to merge these tools together into one operating environment with the HR data as the core system of record. So I think it's a great question. I think it is a real concern. Well answered, but worth, I think, us
another session. Yeah, definitely.
I've got another one. They're coming in thick and fast now. I think people are getting excited about the answers. So if I want to spend some time talking with somebody from PeopleHR to get help building some queries or ripples, how can I organize this? I feel like that might be a question from an existing PeopleHR customer. So I'm happy to pick that one up. Essentially, if anyone on this call is an existing PeopleHR customer, please make yourself known. There's a contact us form online, and just make it clear that as an existing customer you want to ask a question about a specific topic. We'll field that into the People HR account management team or customer support team, depending on what those queries look like, and will help you to answer those as quickly as possible. There's lots of expertise, lots of resources that we can use. There is also a support portal, which most customers have access to, which has a knowledge base and guides already documented in there. So if you don't want to have to wait for somebody to get back in touch, then we've got an entire portal and customer community where these types of questions can be addressed. Just depends on, I suppose, how urgent the query is, right? So thanks for that question, and I'm sure that applies to a few people here. Okay, just a follow-up question to the data integrity piece. Would a session like that would be very much appreciated? And similarly, yes, I'm an existing customer. So we've got some responses. Brilliant. This question tool is really helping us to have a conversation with people we can't see or hear from.
I love it. Yeah, it's fantastic. Yeah, I think
thank you both.
The data piece will be a really cool session, particularly as we move into aligning HR more with Access Analytics, which also naturally aligns with other Access Group products as well. So the phrase a common data model, right? Having all of your data in one single place and location springs to mind there, bolstering integrity. So yeah, up for doing another session. Let's get that organised.
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you, Fraser. I mean, we don't have any more that have come through right now. So if anyone else wants to drop one in, we've probably got about 2 minutes or so. I think, if I may, Fraser, putting you on the spot slightly, just chuck one out to you.
Go for it.
It won't be too hard. But yeah, I think one of the things I've found, again, in talking to customers, is there's not a lot of coaching and guidance around as they land into a new HR management system or HR information system, it feels sometimes like there's a lot of sort of self-learning and self-support in figuring out how to run queries, because every HR system seems to do it slightly differently, kind of getting to the same result, but slightly differently. So do you, this session's obviously been great, but do you have any advice for people who want to dig a little bit deeper? Is there any materials that we can share with the audience and the attendees of this session that might give them kind of a reference document or something like that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess the first piece to call out is that we put a load of pre-built queries into PeopleHR from the free trial. So you can take a free trial of PeopleHR, and I'm sure that we'll be able to sort that out for anyone who would like to have one if they don't have that already. And I guess to acclimatize, if you would, with what the solution is and how it works, that free trial enables you to get into the solution and start to understand it. Now that obviously comes with as Phil mentioned, the help and support documents and articles, and also some really quick and easy ways to load data into the solution, or we can support you to load some dummy data in so that you can sort of start to have a look and see whether the query definition tool does what you want. But in terms of what's there, it's a strong definition tool, really, in terms of enabling you to pull the data that you want from a solution. And obviously, we're here to support if there is any questions that you have along the way.
Awesome. And I suppose as a new customer looking at PeopleHR, what's your favorite bit about the query reporting tool, or so where do you see the primary differentiator to others out there?
Yeah, so I think compared to others, other tools out there for small to medium sized businesses, we have a level of complexity around data, automated workflows that is much better than others out there. our ability for you to collect custom data and then query on that, the ability to create workflows off of the back of that data as well, so you can trigger automated workflows both from a background perspective. So if this triggers, then as I showed with the examples that I had, then trigger an email, create a task, but also you can trigger what we call an interactive ripple, which is something that I didn't show today. So you can trigger the collection of information or a signature from an employee. So in the example of training, there might be some fire training that needs to be completed because it's about to go out of date, and you can get an individual to read and sign something. So it's the automation off the back of the queries, the flexibility with so many data points, and then I think the final piece to that is the open APIs and the ability to export that data, so that you are able to create a common data model, whether that is within Access Analytics or another business intelligence platform. Is what sets us apart from others.
Fantastic, thank you, Fraser. I think this is important information to have, right? I know a lot of people out there are choosing HR management systems, kind of making comparisons, and it's not always that easy. I think personally, one of the things I've seen as the power behind PeopleHR is its comprehension as an enterprise grade HR management solution, but delivered in a simple, usable, accessible way through the automation, right? And I think that's quite rare at this end of the market. Thank you. So just another question that's come in. As an existing customer, do you offer a rundown meeting of your system? I'm new to my company and it would be great to see the possibilities the system offers. Fantastic question, and we would love to show you more. The simple answer is yes. Within our services and support capabilities or features, if you like, there is typically some training conducted through our Flex Points catalog. Flex Points, think Nectar points of yesteryear, but essentially you can buy some points to have some dedicated training to help guide you through the system. We'd be more than happy to show that if the guides within the support portal don't quite deliver everything that you need. It's nice sometimes to get somebody dedicated on the line talking you through as you need to use it and as you see it. So absolutely get in touch. We'd be more than happy to talk you through the Flex Points catalog. You might find there's some specific modules, courses, themes that you need to discuss, or indeed we can just have a full training session dedicated for you as you've recently joined the organization. We'd love to do that, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, I think that's it for questions.
Fantastic.
And I've run out of interrogating you. Can't wait for the next session, and we've already got a couple of suggestions now that we can look to extend this series. Yeah, I hope that you've enjoyed it, Fraser. Right? It's always good to be in the limelight.
Well, it's good to have a conversation, right? Which the question and answer tool helps us do. So, yeah, thanks for getting involved. And yeah, as we said, any other questions, then please get in touch and let us know.
Appreciate you. Thanks, bud.
Fabulous. Thank you both, Fraser and Phil. That was a really, really good session. I hope everyone enjoyed that. We did get a lot of questions coming in, which is great. So if we were unable to answer any of your questions, we'll come back to you shortly. On the screen now is a slide showing the QR code. Fraser, can you share your slide again? Thank you. There we go.
There we go.
So you can scan that to find out more information or to book a free demo. Coming soon is episode 3 of our Access PeopleHR Deep Dive series, where Fraser will show you how our software can help you to streamline your onboarding and employment process. That webinar will take place on 17th of May, so look out for more details coming soon. With that, thank you, Fraser and Phil. Thanks everyone for joining us, and we'll close the session. Thank you. Bye.
Bye all.
Thanks all.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.